Hello and welcome to Elvenhome, and to this episode, which comes 3 weeks later. I hadn't intended it to be so late, but I had a filthy cold last week and that's rather delayed me, and I'd also been away for a while. So I've not been able to get very much done, but I have got some things that I wanted to show you, and the work that I think I'm going to be doing over the next week or so, and other things I'm going to be doing, means that I really wouldn't be putting another video up, I would have thought, for another fortnight. So let's get on with this video and go to something which responds to comments that were made following my last video when I showed the work that I'd been doing in putting the work around the canal. In response to my last video, I had two comments about the wall that I built to go along the front here after I'd completed the scenic work on the canal side. Both of them understood why I had put a wall there to protect the scenery. John of Elvenhome Harbour in particular said that he could perfectly well understand why I did it, but it was a great shame because it spoilt the view looking across to the pub and then up to the viaduct. And Dave Auger agreed with him. Dave, however, suggested to me something which I'd not remotely thought was possible, which was to buy a piece of perspex to go into that size. The thought had never occurred to me, and I'm grateful to him as ever for his suggestion. And within about 5 minutes of reading his comment, I had discovered that you can indeed buy a piece of perspex of any size that you would like, and to whatever finish that you want. I've had polished edges on this piece of perspex. I could have had the corners rounded. I did get them to drill in some holes where I wanted them, and bought some screws and caps to fit them. If I move along a bit here gently, you'll see a covered screw cap at the end, but as it happened, when I put this in, it sat beautifully on the clasp that you can see there, which holds this end board onto the main board, and then I just had to level it up and screw it in at the other end, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it gives a really nice end to the layout, and I'm grateful to, as ever, the comments that I get in response to the video invariably help me make a better layout, which is really, I'm really grateful for all the comments I get. So thank you to Dave and to John for raising the point that maybe the wall, whilst it served its purpose, was a bit utilitarian. Too much of the Eastern Bloc, perhaps. Either way, this is what I now have. And thank you both. Once I had recovered from the lurgy, I was able to do a little bit on the layout in the last day or two, really beginning to think about how I blend the section of High Elven down into the area around the canal. And it's really important that I do that now, because I need to determine where the tunnel portals are going to go, both on this side and here, and how I'm going to bridge the gap here. Now that I've cut this back, the bowstring bridge that I put in there is not long enough, and I'm still swithering over whether that is going to be all rock face with a road tunnel coming out of it, or whether I will bring the rock face down and put the bowstring bridge back in somehow. And I've got to make up my mind which of those two I'm going to do. And I also want to be able to complete the ballasting from the end of the points to just beyond the tunnel portal, and more importantly all around here up to these set of points that you can't see, which give access to the depot, because that will then, if I don't, I've got to do it at some point, and I would like to get all the ballasting done, because once that is done, that is all the ballasting on the layout. Hooray! Oh, well, except for High Elven. Boo. So there's lots that turns on how I blend this in, including the layout of the timber yard. So what I've done so far is to construct this lash up of how I sort of see the road coming down, and even the process of doing that has been incredibly helpful in redesigning how I'm going to lay out the timber yard. And that, you know, that just shows you that you've actually got to go through this process and start doing things rather than just thinking about them. So let's take the original idea and how it's adapted things. I'd always thought that the road, I'll come to that in just a moment. I'd always thought that the road here curved off and curved down to the canal area. And what I'd been doing so far is sort of putting the timber yard in this area. Once I actually got this down here, and I may change this because it's possible the road will come down to about here, but it's an easy fix to change this end piece here. And so the timber yard has all been sort of tucked in that corner. But it occurred to me once I put this down here that actually the main business of the canal basin is timber. Timber yards are huge. They have tons of wood. Tony from the Heritage Line has sent me a lot of timber, which I've yet to do some weathering on, which is going to go in here. And that will give me a really nice big stack of timber here, which I can then have some more timber around here where it gets finished to go into the storage barn, from which it will be taken by road. And actually that's spread the whole of that out. The road will come down here really to service this area, but a lane will go off here to the, which you can't quite see, come down here a bit, Harper's Yard, which is sort of hangs on in existence, and the pub. So the other thing that I realised after a while, not that, is that with the gates where they have to be controlled by something. Either they're controlled by a signal box, which would be possible, but I thought it'd be quite nice to have a gatekeeper's cottage. So I bought one. This one is from Graham Farish. That's the main entrance. That one lets out onto the railway, which I've checked, and it is prototypical for them to let out onto the line side to allow the gatekeeper to obviously walk along and close the gates from the railway line side of the gates. So I'm intending to put the gatekeeper's cottage here and give him a little garden, only a little one, and he will control the he will control the crossing, and then the road will descend. The cliff face is going to come down here, and I've cut a gap there to allow the face to come down and descend below the road, and then build the road up as it comes down. So I get an embankment of where the road has been cut down to get down to the canal side. So that's been the main thing that I've been working on so far, and what I hope to do over the next couple of weeks is to actually build in the hillside here and work out how it's going to go in there, but with a piece that I can take out here to get access to all of this and to any derailed locomotives, and in extremis to be able to remove this board. This is going to be screwed into position, so it's not intended to come off very easily, but it will be able to come off because of the way I've wired everything in the event of something major that required me to get in and sort it out. For example, if a point just stopped working. Now I haven't got in my head how I'm going to do that yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not quite there, and I think it's going to take me a couple of weeks to work that through. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when I complete that work. But this is beginning. I'm really pleased putting this on, because it was another one of those things, was thinking this, oh, this won't work, that won't work. And in the end, I just lashed together a mock-up. And from that, I've ended up with this. And as I said, I think the road is not going to curve quite so much. It will come down here, possibly, but I'll see. I'll see how it goes. So that's where I got to so far, and what the work is that I'm really going to be looking at doing over the next couple of weeks. The next item is in relation to the new PECO wagons, because I've finally bought 3 of them for a project that I want to do up at High Elven. And I'll tell you all about that in just a moment. What you saw disappearing off into the distance there, which I may bring back if I can get the thing to work, are the new PECO wagons, the new tooling of the PECO wagons, which has the NEM pockets. I bought them because one of the things that I'm going to do up in High Elven is to install the Dapol easy shunt magnets in the sidings, so that I can actually do some shunting. Now, as you'll know, most PECO wagons are not capable of having easy shunt magnets put in them because of the way they were designed, and I thought, oh good, NEM pockets, PECO wagons, hurrah! I will buy these to be my barrier vehicle, essentially, between a locomotive with the easy shunt magnets on them and the rest of the rake of coaches. Now, I have to say, I think these are superb little models. I think the improvement in the quality of the tooling and the look of these locomotives and the metal wheels, they run beautifully. At some point, I think I probably will invest in buying the relevant metal wheel sets and changing up all the plastic ones that I've got on my various PECO wagons. However, I shall be thwarted in my desire to use easy shunt couplings, because I read just a couple of days ago that the specification of the NEM pockets on these wagons is not NMRA compliant. It's slightly bigger, and it means if you try and swap an NEM compliant coupling like the easy shunt into the pocket here, it waggles around, and the only way you can keep it in there, which I think was suggested by a chap at PECO, was a daub of super glue. Now, it strikes me somewhat counterproductive to stick in your coupling, so I won't be using them for the easy shunt couplings, and I'll have a look at taking one of my Graham Farish wagons, I think. But it's just something to bear in mind if you're getting these, particularly if you're one of those who uses alternative couplings, the Hunt couplings or whichever other make you choose to go for, that you can't actually easily swap in other couplings, which is a shame, I think. It is a shame. But, you know, on the other hand, these are beautiful little models, and the current PECO wagons, you can't do that with either. So it's not as if we're any worse off, but I was hopeful of being able to use them for the magnets. But there we go. Now, just to close up, a piece I was back painting figures the other day, and I had great fun painting these, and I'm really impressed with the quality for 3D printed figures in 2 gentlemen who are busy delivering a piano to the school. That may give you a clue who they are. I'm holding you by hand for this section because I don't think I'd be able to get you in close enough if I wasn't doing that. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, Tom Chapman posted on a number of Facebook pages from BugglesKellyStation.com about a new range of figures that he produced, including those of Laurel and Hardy. with the piano, which they famously tried to deliver up a very steep flight of steps. And I thought, well, I've just got to have those. So yesterday I finally sat down. They came about a week or so ago, but I'd not felt up to doing it. But I finally sat down and got myself to the point where I could start painting them. And here you can see that they are busily trying to deliver the piano to the school. Now at some point soon I will get the kids into the playground, and we may get some of them having a bit of fun with Laurel and Hardy as they try to deliver them. They come as it's 3 kits essentially, one of Laurel, one of Hardy, and you can buy them in different poses. And then the piano and its casing are 2 separate pieces which you paint up. They all come as grey printed, 3D printed resin. And as ever, as I started painting, the detail in them really started to come out. And it was great fun painting those. They do require a bit of attention and to detail, but the magnifying headset does a wonderful job in helping you be able to see what it is that you're trying to paint. And with that, that brings this edition of Elvenhome to a close. I think over the next couple of weeks I will be able to get on with the things I want to do, notwithstanding other things that I'm going to be doing. And that should give me something decent to show you as I try to blend High Elven up here into the rest of the layout. If you've liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. That's very helpful. And if you haven't already subscribed, well, please do. It'd be great to have you along. And also, can I just say, if you've got any comments, please do let me have them. And as you've seen in this video, the layout is immeasurably better by the quality of the comments that I get than anything I could have achieved on my own. And so until I speak to you again in about a fortnight's time, that's bye-bye from me. Bye-bye.